The Yasuni National Park lies within the Napo Province moist forest ecoregion and is primarily rainforest. The park is about 250 kilometers from Quito, the capital city of Ecuador. This protected area was designated a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve in 1989. Moreover, it is within the claimed ancestral territory of the Waorani indigenous people. In fact, the Yasuni National Park is home to two uncontacted indigenous tribes, the Waorani and the Termenane, who have decided to live in voluntary isolation. Yasuni National Park is the most biologically diverse protected area on Earth. This endemic natural environment is the spot where amphibians, birds, mammals, and vascular plant diversity all reach their maximum level within the Western Hemisphere. However, this protected area has experienced a big threat based on oil drilling. The oil exploration in Ecuador started with Chevron Texaco in partnership with Gulf in 1964 and lasted until 1992. The company drilled 339 wells on more than 1 million acres of land. It was extracted close to 1.5 billion barrels of crude. The company dumped billions of barrels of production and wastewater and burned trillions of cubic feet of gas. This was a great social and ecological damage to the Amazon region. It was a great clash with the Western civilization and it promoted a radical change in the way of life and meaning for them even the loss of their lives. An estimated of 1,000 people died from cancer due to environmental pollution. The rivers, streams, swamps, and soils were contaminated with petroleum, metals, and salts. They contaminated an area of 1,500 square miles, and the case was known as the Amazon Chernobyl. However, there have been several national and international meetings campaigns based on this environmental catastrophe. Chevron Texaco has not assumed its responsibility of environmental damage caused in the Amazon region. Based on this background, President Rafael Correa launched the Yasuni ITT initiative to protect the park's natural resources in June 2007. This initiative promised to leave the park undisturbed in exchange for compensation and economic support from the international community. Consequently, not drilling in the park would prevent 400 million metric tons of carbon dioxide from entering the air. Moreover, another aim was to preserve national park biodiversity, the protection of indigenous lives and ways of life, and mitigation of climate change through avoided pollution. There were environmentalists, politicians, scientists, and foreign countries who suggested to the government to leave the resources untapped. The Yasuni ITT initiative was ended through an executive order in 2015. The President Rafael Correa mentioned that expanding Ecuador's oil production was essential and relevant to enhance economic projects based on public goods and services. He also mentioned that the drilling would affect only 1% of the Yasuni basin, stating that the drilling could be conducted without damaging the endemic environment of the Yasuni National Park. However, environmentalists strongly disagreed to opening the national park to oil exploration. As an illustration, hundreds of protesters called Yasunidos gathered outside the presidential palace after Correa's decision. Finally, those protests did not work and the Ecuadorian government started the drilling activity within the Yasuni ITT blocks in 2016. The failure of the initiative relies to a large extent on the inability of policymakers at the domestic and international scale to identify and resolve social political tensions. The Ecuadorian Ministry of the Environment in 2011 made a proposal focused on some challenges based on those threats to have an appropriate environmental management plan, the creation of clear and direct communication channels between the operating companies from the oil fields to mitigate natural and human disasters, to promote all stakeholders to participate in designing and implementing economically sustainable projects in the area that aim for social development. The national government determines policies and guidelines that can secure tourism as a conservation activity instead of a destructive activity, the design and implementation of conservational projects that target biodiversity loss, contamination, and forest fragmentation. Moreover, in a study conducted in 2015, the Wildlife Conservation Society with local stakeholders proposed a sustainable management program based on the main threats of the Yasuni National Park as a tool of decision-making for the park's authorities to preserve wildlife and indigenous communities. The current situation of the Yasuni National Park is still ambiguous and uncertain. There was a popular referendum on the 4th of February 2018 with 7 questions to promote changes at economic, political, judicial, and environmental levels. The 7th question was based on the oil drilling at the Yasuni National Park. This question was considered a weapon against the extraction and it was supported by 6.1 million Ecuadorians with a 98.5% of the overall vote of yes. Finally, there are still tensions between the national government and civil society that each has their own interests to preserve or to exploit the natural resources at the Yasuni National Park. However, there is still hope to run the several proposals as the Yasuni ITT initiative to be considered by the Ecuadorian national government to preserve the Yasuni endemic biodiversity for future generations worldwide.